Artosis here, bringing you another match that I have sponsored. This is a best of 3, and it is between Yoon in the bottom right and Scan in the top left. Seems like you guys have been liking these sponsored matches lately, so I had Scan do quite a few of them. Hope that you do enjoy. This is going to be, again, a best of 3, Terran versus Zerg. First map going to be Polypoid. Of course, Scan and Yoon, two of the best up-and-coming players for their races. They have both been playing phenomenally. They both crushed in the ACS, the Africa TV Challengers Star League, and definitely ASL level competitors, but of course can't always make it in. Now, what should we see here? I would say both players have a pretty full range at their disposal. Also, I think Terran vs. Zerg, probably the matchup that Scan is most successful at overall, which, you know, that's not an uncommon thing. As far as Yoon goes, like, yeah, I mean, I guess nothing comes to mind as to what his best matchup is. He seems pretty, I'll describe him like a coffee, pretty full-bodied Zerg, right? He's got the full range to him, so we'll see how this ends up going. Of course, they are cross spawns, which means that it's going to be a little bit harder for Scan to put on pressure against Yoon, but of course that means the mutas will come just slightly later. So you can, you know, just have your build order fit together a little bit better as Terran because of that. But yeah, I would say maybe that goes a little bit better for the Zerg player, but if you want to take a third base at another main base, then that's going to be easier for Terran to pressure. So in that situation, it'll be a little bit Terran favored. So we'll see what he does, though. Like, I mean, in a situation like this, you might not necessarily try to take another main as your third base. You might take one of the closer, like the 6 o'clock location or the 3 o'clock location. Now the drone comes over, sees the SCV scouting down. This is actually kind of an interesting new scout pattern that I've seen Scan going with. Normally what you'll do is scout towards the other natural so you can see an overlord there. But of course, sometimes they will stop their overlord in such a location that you won't see the overlord, and then the overlord can see your SCV. So just kind of an interesting little to and fro that we're seeing in the evolution of the Terran versus Zerg scouting metagame. I mean, everything in StarCraft is used against your opponents. It's a crazy game like that. Name another like it, you're not going to find it. All right, so looks like the drone comes in and just checks, is there a gas? Nope. Knows that there's going to be a command center, sees it on his way out, and of course saves the drone. Very well done. Scan expanding off of a single marine, and we'll see where he wants to go from here. I imagine it's going to be 2 barracks play. There's not a lot of things that you can do otherwise after going for barracks expand against a 2 hatchery. It's a little bit too slow to take a gas and try to make anything like that work out, so generally you just have to go into bio. So there is the second rack, starting marine production once again, and of course the SCV just has to be kept alive for a bit. You gotta keep this alive, and scouting looks like he stole a few minerals there as well as the Zerglings chasing him off. Of course, the layer was normally timed, and speed is on the way of, you know, you can't see that speed is being upgraded, but you just have to assume that it is, because assuming that it's not, well, if you get it wrong on that, you can just die to mass Zerglings. But yeah, it's more important kind of just to keep the SCV alive. Now, this second SCV coming out to scout because this one's getting low. This is something I gotta say that I love seeing in Scan's play. He always gets the first or almost always. you can't always do anything in StarCraft, but he almost always gets the first SCV out when it starts taking damage. He just sends it home and sends a second out to take its place scouting. Now, taking a look here, there are 4 lings, so will Scan be able to actually get by? Yeah, it looks like he shift-clicked on the mineral patches there. I actually asked him about this because I've been casting so many of his games lately. But what he does for this is, while the SCV is still in the main base, he just clicks another SCV out to the side and then shift-click mines the minerals so he can travel through the Zerglings. So this gives him the pretty foolproof second scout. He sees the Spire, which means he can delay his comm sets just momentarily. Looking at home, he does have that academy up and done, getting stim already. No medics as of yet. 8 marines are out. We'll see. Should probably start some medics now. Right? Oh, we had a little bit of a supply block there. Even pro gamers get supply blocked occasionally. And it looks like he'll probably have like a little 8 marine pressure starting up. Now, Yoon has taken the top right. And this is what we were kind of talking about before. This can be harder to defend. Like, if Scan instantly sends his Marines to that top right, obviously you have to cancel this or lose it. But there can be counterattack potential there from Yoon. Also, notice that Scan is getting very late comm stats, which is pretty normal. Going up to 4 racks as well. He's really been preferring this pressure-heavy style. Down at Yoon's base, starting +1 attack for his Mutalisks right away. Pretty common nowadays. You don't see +1 carapace all that often, but a lot of +1 attack to get that extra damage done. Kill those extra SCVs, Marines, medics, turrets, and anything else that you can muster. Now, up come the comm stats. Those are after the barracks are being added. No +1 as of yet, but does already have range on the way. Of course, range so important here. And he should be starting +1 attack really soon, like any second. Probably after he starts these turrets. Yeah, a couple turrets at the natural, couple in the main base, and there you go. Next up should be that +1. Starts pushing out now with this Bioforce. He's got to be careful until he has the range upgrade. Not that many mutas or lings out as of yet. Looks like Yoon going to be dogging this Marine Force a little bit. It's only 4 mutas, though. You got to be careful about that, right? Like, 4 cannot even one-shot a Marine unless it's been stemmed. So brings up some more, has 6 now, starting to drone up in that top right. Very important to keep an eye on that and see how many drones he's going to be able to get up there. The mutas still kind of dogging around those Marines. Scan trying to keep in the center. It's a little bit of a counterattack. That is highly annoying. The mutas hit the main base while the lings coming in try to go after the turrets. Looks like he might actually... Yeah, look at this. The mutas kill the turret at the barracks, but he does save the turret at the natural, which is so important. Now he's got to bring his Marines up to actually defend his production point. Looks like he's going to send out a group as well. Okay, so Scan going to try to put on some heavy pressure here with these Marines and medics walking out. In fact, Yoon doesn't have much vision of that. Just harassing here at the barracks. And he is killing a lot of Marines. His mutas started to take some pretty full damage there, so he does end up pulling them back. No sunken colonies at home as this Bioforce pushes across. So it looks like he is just going to have to join up with his mutas. See, this is the play Scan was looking for. He's looking to force the mutas out to deal with this Marine force so he can re-secure that barracks area. Now the mutas microing here. Obviously the mutas can win this fight, but Scan is buying a lot of time with these units. I think overall here, I like how this went for Yoon slightly more. He ends up actually losing a lot more than I thought he would. Down to just 4 mutas, even with those reinforcements. So definitely lost a decent amount. Looks like the muta's going to go deal with this SCV instead of killing the medics. I think a little bit of a mistake there. Oh, he was looking for reinforcements. So yeah, that is definitely very important. Now going up to more mutas right now for that defense. We don't have any other tech yet. Hydralisk Den on the way, but his mutas have some heavy lifting to do right now. He continues to produce them. He does have that +1 attack, which is so crucial, but he's got to whittle down this Marine count. That is for sure. Otherwise, he will end up losing that base. He doesn't have a solid defense until the lurkers are up. So he does kill off those Marines. Going to chase these medics back. Let's take a look at Scan's base. His factory is just finished. Another barracks on the way. There's a single starport. Lots of production as far as Marine medic goes. I'm actually kind of surprised. Okay, there it is. The second starport. I was going to say that to go 5th racks, but no double starport would be very weird indeed. But he does go for both. Taking a look at that SCV count, very healthy. We see a lot of drones being added from Yoon. It looks like he feels pretty confident that he can get up to lurkers now. Diving into the main base here with the mutas, taking out a couple turrets. Marines and medics coming up to push them back. More turrets being made in the main base. Now, this is going to become a very dangerous time, I think, for Scan coming up here. Right, the mutas, he's got a full group. He's ready to harass. He just knocked out these turrets. He's trying to keep the bio back just long enough to get lurkers out, because as soon as he has a couple lurkers on the ramp and a few lurkers at his natural, the Marines and medics aren't going to be able to bust through, and Scan is going to need that higher tech. So Scan has to be very careful about his move outs, about how he's attacking, because these mutas, while they've been used primarily to slow down the Marines and medics, they aren't going to be needed for that once lurkers are out. So once the lurkers are out, the mutas can actually start diving in more and putting more pressure on the production area, possibly the mineral lines as well. You see Scan trying to rebuild some of his static D here. Yoon doing a great job with that harassment. Looks like vessels are going to be the tech of choice. A good amount of turrets there, a good amount of turrets here, just not as many at the Raxes. Now, a bunch of lurkers being morphed. Yeah, it looks like he's going to have 3 over here as well. And, I mean, those spreads, right? You got 4 or 5 in the natural where it's, you know, low ground. It's, like, kind of even. And then, like, 3 up a ramp. It's basically impossible to break those numbers with the bio. So, like, a perfect amount of lurkers being produced right now by Yoon to make sure that he is going to be fine. Also, Defiler Mound on the way. And as he gets that up with the Nidoses, it's going to become really very difficult for Scan to break through, especially considering these are kind of later starports, right? It's not like super duper late, but a little bit late. A lot of the times, like if you don't go for the 4 barracks play, you'll already have some vessels out and be able to hit some irradiates. So it's just slowed down a little bit, and that can make a big difference. Now the lurkers are actually running up and trying to burrow in some interesting locations here for a containment, but one actually paths poorly, which is a problem. Scan picks that off, and another one. A nice spread here, but too many lurkers. He is going to have to pull back. Decent engagement, actually, by both sides, considering the lurkers moving up once again. He wants to get that contain off. If he gets the contain off, that is going to be really hard for Scan to deal with. Scan cannot attack into this location as of yet. Okay, Yoon running forward once again. Scan stims forward, tries to engage. He's killing off some of the mutas. Oh, that was a great irradiate, but unfortunately, the irradiated muta dies right away. He's trying to stim and spread here against those lurkers, but there are too many and too few Marines. Just the lurkers left over. I think another round and a half of Marines is basically enough to clear these lurkers. He has got to get rid of them, though. Yeah, and especially that irradiate on a full health one. Take a look at the health of these lurkers. He should be able to break out, which is so important, but more Lings coming up to make this harder. Uh-oh, the Lings surrounding here, and he does come out with just the Marines. Doesn't get that flank off, though. If you have a flank with these units and those units that just attacked, you clearly break these lurkers. But as is, just the medics with no energy left over here. That was a great movement from Yoon to kind of deny the flank there. And, uh-oh, the Defilers are here, but not that many lurkers. This might still be doable. Yeah, he gets rid of both the lurkers. So it's just Defiler Ling up in his natural. If you get any lurkers up here, it's going to become completely impossible. He should be making fire bats at this point. Yeah, starting to make some fire bats to help clear some of these Lings. This is definitely deadly. The Defiler is under the Dark Swarm. Really hard to deal with here for Scan. Another lurker comes up. Okay, the fire bats coming out are so important. And it's only one lurker, so yeah. Oh, it actually wasn't even under the Dark Storm there. But yeah, he's going to clear that pretty easily with a few fire bats. And it looks like just barely Scan is going to get out of here. But a plague goes down. Beautifully done upon those vessels. And Scan has to push this back. More lurkers were coming up, but just in the nick of time, he breaks out. So now we have Scan basically stabilized. Let's take a look where Yoon is at. He's got his Nidoses up. He has his Evolution Chamber. Only +1 carapace, no +2 carapace on the way. So that's going to make it a little bit further out until Ultras are a threat. Let's see what he makes here. Just another macro hatchery. And he's going to want to think about taking a 4th base relatively soon. Oh my god, he's actually trying to run up once again with another little counterattack on lurkers. Yeah, I don't think that's going to end up working. Brings up a lot of fire bats here, and it looks like only one lurker that isn't irradiated left under this Dark Storm. One Defiler as well. Not a big deal to deal with. I think that was a big mistake from Yoon, honestly. Like, if you get it all the way up to the natural, it's very, very strong. But in this situation, now he's down like 4 lurkers and a Defiler defensively. So let's see if Scan can get anything done here. Coming forward towards this natural. He has a lot of vessels. This is a triple lurker stack, so he does have to be careful about that. But honestly, if he spreads and has the fire bats come in on top of this can get busted pretty quickly. Couple of creep colonies going down as Yoon knows that this might be a tough situation to hold. More macro hatches coming. Ultra's Cavern is on the way, but again, he was a little bit late on that +2 carapace, so the Ultra is not going to be that strong yet. It's really at the +2 carapace mark that Ultras become super, super tanky. All right, looking over here, looks like Yoon getting ready once again for another expansion. Wants to get that 4th base down, throws down ahead of time the Dark Swarm, and has a 3 lurker stack underneath it. Oh, that plague! Just insane! getting just about the whole army. The vessels, for the most part, very red as well. Of course, you can only irradiate the top lurker in the stack, and he does do that. Loses a couple of vessels, unfortunately. Scan does have map control right now. He has taken his third base. He has that fourth command center on the way. Double engineering base going. Yeah, with 3-2 already on the way, so beautifully done there. And he's floating the science facility, which means most likely that's going to be for the physics lab to get some battlecruiser tech going. So I like where Scan is headed, but I think Yoon he's looking okay. I know you see a big supply differential, but that's all right because he's in a very defensive stance right now. As long as he can keep enough lurkers and defilers around to keep his 4 bases up, then he can grow over time. He's also got a very healthy drone count at 44. That's really, really solid for Zerg at this point in the game. Now, quite a few lings being hatched. That +1 melee on the way, as well as the +2 carapace. Really important to get those upgrades going. A couple really nice irradiates going down. Wait, was that on a Zergling? Yeah, I think he just irradiated a Zergling. He might have had them over the lurkers there as well, which is a pretty common move. So it's harder to irradiate. More Marines and medics kind of coming out onto the map. Little group with fire bats here as well. One single ling at this 4th base location that Scan's trying to take. This looks like it's going to turn into a pretty epic macro game here, because I don't think either of them can really hurt each other too much right now, but it looks like Scan going to try to break. Oh, wait a second. Only 2 lurkers in that stack, so he's going to be able to knock out this 4th base. Yeah, there's no saving that for Yoon. Definitely an issue. A group of Marines down to the side here. Let's see if... Yeah, I know. You can't save the hatchery. See, this is what I was talking about with losing the 4 lurkers on the counterattack. If you don't do that and you have 4 more lurkers, this never, ever, ever dies to that attack. But instead, here we are, and suddenly Scan takes a big advantage in this game. You know, that is StarCraft kind of in a nutshell, right? You make one little mistake, and you're going to get punished, at least at this super high level. All right, so Defiler Energy coming up. Great spread of units. I love this group of units here. He keeps a group here as well. It's really a lot about seeing the Zerg army coming. Obviously, you see the Lings come out, and they can just clear a small group like that, but you slow Zerg down with groups like this. You make it so that it's a lot harder for Zerg to just run by and kill off a base. Now, there is a little group of Marines here, but the single Zergling going to town. A few more Lings coming up. Another plague went down up here. Looks like, oh, another push towards the natural from Yoon. Being pretty greedy with his play right now. He's being, like, maybe slightly too aggressive, trying to push in. But I guess since he lost the 4th base, he feels like that's his best chance. Now, the Firebats get in under the Darkstorm. Clear that pretty well. Another plague goes down, but not end of the world here, considering it's still just 3 bases for Yoon. Does have some great production going, though. He has that +2 carapace now. Ultra's starting to pop out. Ultra's speed almost done as well. So Yoon going to start getting out on the map a bit more, but he is down in supply. You can see he's actually up as far as the worker count goes, which is kind of hilarious. But that is enough SCVs for now, I would say. All right, another attack up to that 4th base location. In the meantime, we do have that group that had Ultras in it coming over here. It looks like that was just a clear attack move towards this base, but Scan's slowing that down. He sees what's coming, so he can be ready in position. In the meantime, gonna break up into this top right. Ultra's coming through the Nidus and hatching at the same time, but he does not have enough here. I think Scan is in a great position now to take this game as he clears up just about everything. Yoon maybe a little bit too aggressive in that mid game. Great burrow to stop the eraser, but Scan really taking control of this area. Another Darkstorm goes down. I think he wants to get a Plague up as well. A Plague here would be amazing, but the eraser killing off the Defiler. GG, Scan wins game 1.